Hey guys, it's Trent Stabler here, and I am going to talk about compression today. This is the third part of my M-Class series tutorial in Reason, and yeah, I know compression can be a very popular topic. I know for me, it took me a long time to grasp it. It can be complicated. There's a lot of things you can do with it. So yeah, let's get started. So last time we did stereo imaging, and I put a stereo imager on most of the tracks here, and this is what we have so far. So first, I'm going to describe what compression is and what you can do with the M-Class compressor. So I'm going to go ahead and put a compressor on the drums, because I think the drums, you can really tell the difference with and without compression. So let's go ahead and solo them. And bypass this. Fuck this. Okay, so what we have here is the M-Class compressor, as you can see. Let's get rid of these just real quick. You can see the input gain, threshold, soft knee, ratio, the gain, bar, solo sidechain, attack, release, adapt release, and output gain. So what compression is compression is not turning down the volume. That's one thing you need to get straight. Compression is reducing the dynamic range in a track. The difference between the highs and the lows, not in frequency wise, but the loudest and the quietest part of a track. Now, we can demonstrate this by just going ahead and soloing this and going over here to the mixer. This yellow part over here, that is the highest, that is the loudest part of the track, and the green is the low. So compression is going to reduce the dynamic range, all this space in between here. So that's what it's going to do. And let's go ahead and try that. Let's unbypass this. Well, first, sorry, let me explain. The input gain, self-explanatory, just governs the amount of signal that goes into the compressor. Threshold is when the compressor will start acting on the signal, when it will start compressing. The lower it is, more to the left it is, the earlier and the easier it will be triggered. And to the right, the opposite. Soft knee, we'll go back to that, but ratio is how much it's going to be compressed once it passes the threshold. It can be 1-to-1, which is nothing, or all the way to infinite, which is everything. The activate solo sidechain, we'll come back to that later. Attack, that is how fast the compressor will act, so all the way to the left will act as soon as the signal appears. And the release governs how long it holds on to it. And the adapt release, that basically adapts, that automatically adjusts this release knob for you. You can't see it happening, but it adjusts it depending on the amount it was compressed. So it'll automatically adjust that for you. And the output gain is how much goes out. So the soft knee, usually when a signal crosses the threshold, it is immediately, well, depending on the attack, it's immediately compressed. But and that can be very noticeable sometimes if it's a huge, compression. So what a soft knee will do is it basically kind of makes a less of instant. I don't know really how to describe it. It's more of a line going over the threshold instead of just instantly being compressed. So it basically smooths out the compression, so it doesn't sound so instant, and that can be helpful in a lot of situations. The activate solo sidechain is not something we're going to cover because that has to do with sidechaining, and if I might do a tutorial on that later, but for now we're going to leave that alone. So now that I've described what the compressor does, let's start compressing. So we're going to go ahead and visually look at the drums being compressed. Now, I'm going to go ahead and set the attack all the way down so it'll be instantly compressing. And I'm going to make this very extreme just so I can show you the difference. So first, let's bypass it and let's take a look at the signal. Alright, pretty big dynamic range right there. Now let's activate it. And as you can instantly hear, it'll take it a minute. There you go. The dynamic range is way decreased. It's quieter in general, but it's very much compressed. It's a bit too much. And you can adjust that by, moving the ratio and the threshold. Let's try moving the ratio all the way up. And you can hear it just, it sounds horrible, frankly. But, yeah, let's try moving the threshold. That's the threshold. So let's try moving all the way to the left. It's being compressed pretty much instantly. You move it up. So yeah, that's what you can do on with every track, and I just feel like the drums are more noticeable. But although we don't want to compress the drums this extremely, we do want to compress them. So I'm going to go ahead and put the ratio about 2:1, and the attack all the way down. The release, let's put about, we can just keep it about halfway, frankly. Let's look at that. And as you can see, down here, you can see how much is being compressed. It's about -4 decibels, I think, something like that. So it's already compressed a little more, and that's going to help a lot in the mastering phase and the end of the track to make it not clip. That's one thing we'll be going over. But so you can compress every track. You can compress also, leads, guitars. Let's try compressing the lead a little bit. Add a compressor on here. Put the attack all the way down, just so we can get a little more noticeable. Put the ratio about 2:1. Threshold somewhere about, let's put it about -21. So it's compressing about -4 again. And yeah, it's very quick once you know how to do it, and you can do that with any track ever. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and add some onto these, to the other tracks here. But first, I'm going to go over some techniques I like to use, and a lot of other people like to use when compressing. So as I've already shown you one technique, compressing each individual track, which is what you're going to want to do in pretty much every track you make, literally every track. I'm going to only show you one more. I'm going to talk about another one briefly, but probably the most popular method would be mastering. So let's go ahead and put the compressor in the master here. If we bypass it, let's go ahead and look at the overall track dynamic range. Pretty big. And we certainly cannot turn it up anymore without it clipping, because if we were to do that, well, if we would just turn it up from here, as you can see, it's clipping. The highs are clipping, the highest parts, and that's going to distort it. And that's never what you want. So one technique a lot of people use, and well, everybody, is mastering, and compressing in the mastering phase. So if we bypass this, I'll put the attack down to about, 16 milliseconds. The release, a little shorter, 257, I don't know. And let's go ahead and put the softney on. So it's going to smooth out the whole phase. It's a bit too much, so for now, without any other effects on the master. So let's move the ratio about 2 to 3. Threshold, should we move that up a tiny bit? About -17 decibels. And as you can see, it's compressed now. And if I were to turn it up, I can turn it up louder than I could have beforehand, without it clipping. And that's basically the gist of why people use compression and mastering. They can bring out the track more. And in this loudness war we have today, compressing is very important. So another technique would be sidechain compression, but I'm not going to go over that in this video because it's very long. A lot of techniques and stuff you can use. So if you guys want to learn about it, basically what it is it ducks the signal on your cue whenever you want. Most commonly on when the bass drums and snares hit in songs, especially for like electro house, pretty much every electronic genre. So so it brings out the drums more, and you don't have to turn the drums up so loud to get that pumping feel. So if you want to learn about that, tell me about it, and I'll make a video. But yeah. So that's it for this video on compression. I hope you enjoyed. I hope I taught you some things. If you enjoyed, feel free to leave a like and subscribe, because next time we're going to go over maximization, the maximizer. Last part of my M-Class series. So yeah, thanks for watching and have a great one.